Okay, so we're going to take down the Christmas tree. And I saved, well, I'm going to take down the Christmas tree. I saved these twisty ties, and so I will use them, hopefully, keep some of these together. I don't want to put the whole thing away and just wrap it in plastic like I did before. So what I did with this is I just made it so I could lift an ornament on. Okay. Little cardinal. Oh. I designed this so that the post could come out. I almost glued them in, and then I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that. So the first two bottom rows, I'm going to bundle up. Is that another ornament? Yeah. I'm going to bundle up together. And then I'll be able to compare them in length, and I'll figure out which is which next year. It's not an incredibly dynamic design here. And then amidst the longer ones, I did add these smaller posts that were like this long, so I could put ornaments closer into the tree, and I could use them as shelves for cards. Let me put some more in here. Let me go the first. These ones here. Yeah, there we go. So I hope everyone is enjoying the day after Christmas. So I have my first bundle done here. And I'll just put it aside. And I don't really have much to say other than I'm going to be reaching out more with Extinction Rebellion. Because the thing that's pressing on my mind the most these days is the climate crisis that we're in. And the fact that we're just not, I'm going to take these ones out, another ornament. We're not waking up as a civilization, as people. We're not waking up. This year for Christmas, I didn't, this is obviously a wood post, okay? But I did not purchase a tree that was watered and then cut down for the sake of a tree to be in my living room. I made one that I can use again and again, and I didn't string lights on it. I didn't string lights outside of my house, and I put one small strand just down the hallway here for the kids. And I even, I didn't even have to have lights, Next year I'll just do all fun paper ornaments. We'll make our own ornaments and hang them and do it that way. Because, whoops, look going behind. Because we are in a crisis right now. We really are, and we're running out of time so quickly. We're just running out of time so quickly. And we had time to fix this. And we see the crisis right now here in the States with all these wildfires and tornadoes. We see it right before our eyes. And it's going to get worse and worse. People that are upset with Extinction Rebellion, I see them really starting to rise in New York when I look on YouTube. But people that are angry at Extinction Rebellion, okay, you got to get to work. They're blocking your way to work. What we really have to understand and comprehend is there is no 9 to 5. There is no going to work to get money to go to the grocery store when there's catastrophic disaster around us, when there's massive crop loss and sea levels rising. The relevance of money dissipates, and that's the problem. We don't have time for a 9 to 5 anymore, and it's time to wake up and imagine what we can do and be creative and do it. If we can't go to work, if we have to protest, if we have to turn off all of our lights, if we have to stop consuming as much electricity as possible in our homes, then we do that. And then we form community gardens. We work together. We form community food banks, and we look after each other. And that will be what it will have to be. I don't know what other approach we have, just talking about it right off the bat. But I hadn't been talking on YouTube much, and I hadn't been uploading because, veganism is my, that's my passion. Environment has to be, everyone's passion. And, should be, I guess. And, I guess I didn't have anything else to say other than we're in a crisis. We're in a climate crisis, and I've talked to my siblings about it, and my dad, and they're all aware, saying, it's, oh yeah, that's terrible, or, of course, but no change, no change. And they're not bad people, but it is terrible to not respond to a call of emergency. This is an emergency that we're in, and our children are going to suffer greatly. My nephews and nieces, my children, have the potential to be suffering greatly in the next 10 years, 20 years, if not even sooner. There is no exact timeline, but we do have the guarantee that we have altered the climate in such a way that there's no going back from the 1.5 to 2 degree increase in temperature. There's no chance of that. And we do have a 10% chance of reaching a 7 degrees Celsius. Okay? And that's catastrophic. That's no life. Okay, this is super glued on there, so this stays. That's catastrophic. No life. No life. Not for a long time, at least. I don't know if in millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of years, if the climate would ever go back to something that could sustain, or if life could evolve in a hot, desolate place. I don't know. I know, microorganisms or whatever, but I don't know. I don't even know. And that's the reality. People think it's a game, it's a hoax, it's attention seeking. It's none of those things. It's just the cold reality, hot reality. The fire and the wind and the rising of the seas. And it won't stop. And the longer we do it, the worse it's going to get. So what we have to do, what I want my subscribers to do, is to join with me and to conserve the energy and use daylight. Open our blinds and use our daylight. And when we use electronics, be mindful of them. My kids are in there watching a movie, so I could talk to you. But, being mindful and supporting those who will help us. Organizations like Extinction Rebellion and Animal Rebellion. Reaching out to your community. I don't know about... I went down to this city council meeting and whatnot, but I didn't sign up. I didn't realize I had to sign in to speak, which really was a bummer. But I got to listen, and all they were talking about were the new places they were going to drill for oil, and where they were pending, and blah, 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 and no talk of getting off of any kind of gas and oil. The things they're saying are safer ways to use gas and oil. Safer ways. We'll move the fracking further from people. And it's just big money. It's oil, big money in there. And so that's why in the rooms of the government offices, I think people step up there and they speak, and it's good when maybe we can plant seeds. But that time is done. We don't have time for that. We have to literally put a halt by bombarding the streets and forcing a disruption to wake people up. People will become curious as to why people are doing this, and then they will realize that the parts per million of carbon are in the atmosphere are past 300. That's the highest they have been in over 2 million years. Okay, we're past that by 100 and I think maybe 15 by now. It was 112, and then I watched a talk with Greta and a scientist, and it looks like we're at about 415. No, not a scientist, sorry. I think she was talking with Michael Moore, excuse me. I've been watching some other climate cop stuff, so mixed up. But we are past the point of safety. You know, we're beyond the limit, and we are in dangerous territory. And actually, there is a rise in emissions right now. It is going up, methane and CO2 and nitrous oxide. Starting, I was listening to Dr. Peter Carter. He is he's a board reviewer like a senior reviewer for the IPCC reports. And he's a climate scientist. Peter Carter, he's amazing. He was at the COP25 in Chile. And, the methane, in 2000, it's been on the rise. The nitrous oxide, on the rise since 2000, and booming. And so we're introducing the 3 most dangerous greenhouse gases right now into our environment at an increasing rate. Why is this happening? Okay, because we are driving through the drive-thrus. We're getting the Starbucks. We're buying excessively. We are getting the latest fashion. We're buying new phones. We're upgrading. We're just living life like there's no end to it. And our excuse is, well, that's the way life is. This is our culture. This is society today. Well, guess what, folks? That way of living is killing us, killing everything. And people are saying it's just a hoax. They're not listening to the science. They're not listening to the warnings from the IPCC. They're not seeing the changes in weather. They're not looking at the footage of the refugees and people drowning, burning. In Australia, they are burning. They are in a mega drought, actually. It hasn't been released on the media yet, but I was listening to scientists talk about it. Africa is in a mega drought. They're not seeing any end to that. In 50 years, they have been in a mega drought. And it's devastating. People are dying. Excuse me for getting emotional. But we're not doing anything. We're not fighting. And then we're all going to be standing around. If it all goes terrible like it looks like it is, we're all going to be standing around wondering why. Everybody's going to have their theories. Oh, the Bible spoke about it for so long, or it's just the apocalypse. Well, no. It was man's greed and destruction and direct ignorance to science, and us as individuals, as consumers, really. Me too, I am guilty, consuming my whole life. Okay, so I'm not picking on anybody here, but our world is suffering. Australia is in a mega drought. Africa is in a mega drought. The UK is looking at crop loss from infertile soil here in the next 30 years or sooner. Australia is burning. California is burning. You've got tornadoes ransacking the United States. All over the world. It's global. We're in a climate crisis. And so that's all I have to really say to all my 27 subscribers. I want you all of you, I want you all to change in every possible way you can. And I want you all to get involved with Extinction Rebellion. When I go out now, I put my pin on. And I wear it. And I wear my vegan shirts too. And vegan, still our number one tool. Most efficient and effective way to fight climate change as an individual. So we have to wake up. Otherwise, we're just going to die. I don't want my children or your children. I don't want anybody's children choking on air. I don't want that. That's happening now. In Australia and India. Children are dying every day. And because they're not our babies from our womb, we just kind of let it go. We let it slide. And then when it hits here, when it's too late, then we're just going to want to answer. And there's not going to be one. And our babies are going to be suffering. And our elderly. Everyone. So it's time to start this new year off the right way. We have got to demand and fight for clean energy by 2025. We have to transition now. We have to get wind power, solar power up now in the means while we're looking for zero emissions. And we have to change our lifestyle. This could be, if we succeed as a human civilization, if we succeed, you have to imagine in your mind everything, every element of our life pivoting and changing, okay? But for the better. It will be unfamiliar. Letting go of majority of the way we did things and majority of things we had. Letting go of that will be scary. I mean, we're breaking out of basically an imprisonment we've been in. We've been imprisoned in a lifestyle that has destroyed our only home. And that we're breaking out of that. We don't have to be slaves to consumption and industry. We don't have to look through glass windows to see things that we desire, to see things that we believe will make us happy. We can look to hillsides covered with animals and birds and butterflies and honeybees. We can look at waterfalls. We can go to the ocean. We don't have to do things that destroy our world. And as we strip ourselves of those old habits, and we see the truth and we see the suffering, we will evolve and we will find a new way of life, and it will be comfortable and good and okay. But if we stay comfortable right now where we're at, living blindly, then it will come no matter what, and harder than ever, okay? And maybe that I haven't read all the science, okay? I'm not a climate scientist, but we do have a goal set. And there is a chance that we could soften the blow and possibly keep it at a 1.5 to 2 degree increase. Even though that's going to be something that is going to take our climate into a terrible place. But we're already there, okay? We're already there. So we don't want to go further. So in order to stop that, we just have to bite the bullet and be brave. Courage. That's what it is, courage. You go forward no matter how afraid you are. No matter how many people tell you it's not gonna work. You go forward. Courage is doing the right thing under any conditions. Any conditions you do the right thing. And when someone puts you down or says you're hyped up, you just remember, we have the science. And that's first and foremost. And secondly, when there are 1,000 children every day dying from the effects of climate change, anything that anyone says against that is irrelevant. Irrelevant. And eventually they'll change or learn the hard way and feel I don't know what they would feel if they'd never changed. But we have to join together, and we have to fight, and we have to conserve and do little. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just thinking of how I can take every bit of excess waste out of my house and from, bringing it in, I should say. And I am going to continue with Anonymous for the Voiceless. And I'm going to continue to support Extinction Rebellion and get involved where I can with that. And when I'm not physically there with Extinction Rebellion, I've only met up a few times and done things. I donate. That is one thing that I do. And that is key too. We all can take different avenues. If you can't get out there, you could donate. If you could, even if you are so busy, let's say you're so busy you can't do anything, the least we could do is wear a pin or run a flag, and people start getting the point, hopefully. So that's what I want, everybody. I want everybody to fight like your life depends on it. I want you to fight like your nieces and nephews could be drowning in the next 15 years, 5 years, 10 years, 7 years, 2 years. I want you to fight like it's tomorrow. And I want us to go into emergency crisis mode. And I want us to pull the reins in as tight as we can. Turn off your lights. Turn off your ACs. Turn off your heaters if you can. No! Oh, what do you need? Let me help you. Some people are in... Well, how can I help you?
Okay, let's close it. Let's close it. Let's close it. Just there. You want it like that? If you're in a place that's just absolutely too hot, you know, you might have to run your AC a bit. So use conservation, you know. And the main thing is eating a vegan diet, reducing where we can, minimizing our trips, being ecological, frugal. We live frugally and carefully, because every bit that we don't use as a globe, as all of us, okay, then we all contribute a little. When 3 billion people do that, you get a nice effect. And that's what we have to count on. We have to count on every bit of good. Even if it means we're not going to make it, we're going to do it all the way till the end, 100%. And then when we look at our children, we can tell them we did all we could. We did all we could. We thought of everything we could, and we did it to the best of our ability. That's what we're fighting for. That's what I want us to take into the new year. All of us, I want us to share this with our family and friends and people on the street. I want us to start showing support for those who are fighting and screaming for our safety. The scientists, the activists, and there are some government officials, talking about confronting the climate change. But most of them are not talking soon enough. And so that's the problem. That's the push we have to get. If we shoot for 2030, okay, and that's, if we shoot for 2030, that's 5 years after the mark that scientists are recommending. The scientific recommendation is 2025. That's when we have to, zero emissions would be ideal, but we have to be greatly reduced, massively, a massive amount, a huge cut. And that's what we need. And so if we're going for 2030 and we miss that mark, then too bad, so sad, Then we're going to be thinking, why didn't we try this? This is like an emergency. We didn't start immediately when we found out we were in climate crisis. We didn't start immediately. We waited another 10 years. So big oil and animal agriculture could take their time, get themselves all set up and comfortable at the expense of life. 200 species, people, of not just animals, variety, 200 species every day, okay, of plants, insects, and animals, all dying right now. This is what is coming out now, just this month, from climate scientists, from scientists who study nature and ecosystems, all of it. Let me see how long we're at. We're at 23 minutes. I want to see change. And I want people to start inspiring other people. And I want people, when they go out, when we all go out, I want us to look at the children. Though that will be our motivation, I think, is the little ones. We don't want to see them crying out and not be able to give them. And I just want to say one other thing. Everybody talking about canning foods, getting a bunker ready, bleep, bloop, bloop, bloop. You know what? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, be prepared. Try and be prepared if you want. But, I mean, honestly, 30 years from now, it seems like a long way, 30 years, 15 years, 20 years. It seems like it. But it's really not when you think about how old the earth is and time itself. It's not long. Those foods on the shelf, the water in the bottles. I mean, you can't even keep water like that in bottles, in plastic. When you shelve water, when you save water for emergency mode, it has to be a pH put in it or whatnot, and then after a while, it's not good. So people who think that there's some sort of salvation in hiding all the food away, there's no amount of food and there's no variety of food that you could pack away to last long enough. It's not practical. And that is not the thinking. We don't need to be thinking of how we will hide away and tough it out. because there's no toughing it out. There's no running. There's no more running. We've been running this whole time. We've been killing 800 billion animals a year so we could have burgers while children starve. We've been cutting down the rainforest for years and years and years for all the many comforts that we have that I indulged in myself. You know, we've just been doing it for so long. And I can't believe that people cannot see. And have seen on mainstream news a bit of coverage, actually, of flooding and whatnot, okay? But I can't believe that people can see all this and not even and see something wrong and then not do anything. So if you're feeling hopeless, if that's why you're not taking action, it's only hopeless if we don't do anything. And we have to fight. We have no choice. Gotta go. Boys, gotta boo-boo. All right, everybody, stay strong. Go vegan. Extinction Rebellion. Animal Rebellion. It is time to sound the alarm. We're in crisis, so everybody do everything you can. I'm going to do some follow-up videos. This was a long one, and we'll see what everyone does. Bye.